I had an unstable connection. Okay, I think we're rolling. So, welcome. Happy Wednesday. I am so excited to be facilitating this fantastic conversation with the brilliant Grace. And I have been looking forward to chatting with her about everything around styling and empowerment and self-love and self-expression. And oh, here she is. Hello. um and so perfect. Okay, here she is. I'm going to welcome her into this live. Here we go. Let's see, sometimes it takes a little bit of time. Yay! Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I am so good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me
Oh
today.
my goodness, no, thank you for making the time to come chat with us about everything around empowerment and styling. I can't tell you how excited I have been to chat with you about this. And I know that so many others are so excited because they have been messaging me and telling me that if they can't join today, they're going to catch the replay. And so, yes, all of the excitement. So, welcome. How are you
Well,
doing today?
thanks. I'm doing great, thank you. Yeah, no, it's so nice just being able to like hop on and have a quick conversation
I know.
with other women who are
Yeah.
doing incredible things.
Yeah, isn't it? I know it's really exciting. And, I have absolutely loved connecting with you on this online space and getting to know you. And I love your energy and just reading so much of what you put out there from your brilliant colors and your liveliness and your vibrancy. And also through kind of, so much of your messaging, I've had so many internal shifts on how I think about styling and self-care and confidence and all of it. So I am just so excited to pick your brain about these things, and and so we'll dive. There's so much that I want to ask you. So we'll dive right in. I Yeah, I'll save what I was going to say for after. So why don't you introduce yourself? Let people know who you are and what you do, because of course I know, but yeah, I'm sure it would.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm Grace Van Cleave. I am the founder of Amazing Grace Styling, and I'm a personal stylist for women entrepreneurs. And am someone that I've always loved fashion and style. But of course, I come from, we all have our different roads to getting where we wanted to be. But
Hmm.
I think my biggest thing is I love helping women feel confident about who they are in the world. And I want women to be able to do incredible things for our communities in our world. And
Hmm.
so I think a lot of it is through confidence. And while you've got the coaching part of it and the
Yeah.
mindset,
Yeah.
I'm here that you feel that like all the great things that are going on within you that you can show out and express to the world on the outside too.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, beautifully put. I love everything that you just said. And, exactly like coming at it from, and of course, we'll dive into this discussion. I'm so excited. But, coming at it from the approach, of course, the shifts happen internally. Of course, confidence is, fostered within. But styling yourself in a way that embodies your unique self expression that feels aligned and authentic with you, and also is an expression of your highest confidence, right? And not necessarily like dimming your light through what you wear, right? And so, and holding back or hiding that full self expression. So, I love it. I think that yeah, the two of us are such a kind of go in tandem that way, right? And so,
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. So I would love to know your why just before we dive in.
Sure. as I was saying earlier, it really
Hmm.
is, I think women should run the world. And I want to be there to help people, whatever to be able to feel good so that, I think when you look good, you feel good. And I do want people to be able to go and like, start their businesses or take businesses to the next level, to not get an invitation in the mail and go, that sounds so fun, but what am I going to wear? I don't want to go. To not cringe when you get that Zoom invite. They're like, hey, can you just hop on Zoom? And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in my pajamas. No, I can't hop on Zoom.
Yeah,
yeah. And that's really what I'm there for. Yeah. Previously, I had clients who have, they're going to conferences and they're like, oh my gosh, for once, I didn't feel like I wasn't comparing myself to other people, or, I'm able to go and, make the big ask, raise my prices, because I feel like I look like somebody who, would charge that.
Yeah, completely. Oh, I love it. Fantastic. So that is, it's super empowering work that you do. And what would you say is what's your path? Like, how did you kind of, and like, how did your story come about?
Yeah, sure. It's funny, like they talk about like, what were you like as a kid? Like, what were your likes? And I, played with Barbies, paper dolls, and, there's some other 80s thing of like, that you would like be a fashion. And I would say like, I want to be a fashion designer, but I also kind of thought like, that's not legit. Like, and of course I ended up like going into Democratic politics. Was there for 6 years. And then, when you're crying every day, you shouldn't be like staying in that line of work. So I ended up, I was a executive coach and, for 11 years with Stella and Dot, the accessories company. And people like, I would just be like, oh, try this on. And people would go like, I would never have picked this. Like, I can't believe it. And I just thought like, can everybody do that? And I sort of realized I wanted to do something on my own. And when I thought about like, what are your strengths? Like, what are your gifts? What's in your zone of genius? Of course, like a lot of people, I'm like, I don't have anything. And then it's like, well, what comes to you that you just like do? What do you always get compliments on? And I'm like, oh, well, I can put together an outfit. And, so I then ended up like first,
and your passion,
yes,
right? Yeah,
absolutely. And, and I did, at first I was like, oh, I'll do a course. Well, everybody kept being like, can you just buy my clothes? Like, I don't want to take your course. Like, I just want you to style me.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's almost that imposter syndrome where you feel like, oh, all of a sudden, like I've got to learn more or educate myself more before I can do this. And it's like, no, claim it, go for it.
Absolutely.
They want you to get going and do it now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Exactly it.
Oh, fantastic. So I'm laughing because I know, with lives how for a little bit there I couldn't turn off the comments were covering your face. So I'm sorry about that.
No,
Lives are just like there's so much in motion when you're doing them, right? There's so much going on in the back end. Let me see if I can just
Oh no, I forgot to turn off my text notification. So I'm getting these texts from people and I'm like, I'm busy talking to Sarah. I can't talk to you.
Come on, exactly. I know I often forget to turn off my do not disturb as well. And it's so funny because when we do these lives, right, there's so much kind of happening. You're like almost thinking of two things at once, right?
Yes.
But
yes.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm sorry if I just seemed like I was kind of zoning up for a second. So, okay, I'd love to dive in. And just before we do, I love your earrings. Are they shell earrings?
Thanks.
Oh,
they're, it's actually, they're modeled out of, I believe it was like ginkgo or something, out of plant material. So they're like a sculptural garden. Cool. And what's cool is you can wear them just as a stud too. So you can have the chandelier just as a stud.
Beautiful. Oh, I love it.
Thank you.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love the whole vibe. Amazing. Okay.
Thanks.
So, I guess I'll start off by asking you, and I know that I've kind of outlined a couple questions or a roadmap of the questions. I know we might end up, just diverging and just letting it flow. But I would love to start off by just discussing, how can we think of our clothes and our styling as a method of self-care, as a method of self-love? Because for me, for example, I had never really, I'm all about self-care and self-love, as you know, and I hadn't really made the connection in my mind. Maybe it was there, but it was kind of in the periphery of like, Well, yeah, of course it makes sense that when you um, nurture yourself and you go invest in the clothes, I'm big on comfy clothes, for example, at home, right? And wearing like PJs that feel so soft and so comfortable. It is like a big
Mm-hmm.
hug to myself. It is it's an act of love. It's an act of caring for ourselves. And the same is
Mm-hmm.
also true when you wear clothes that make you feel good. I think there was also a post. I remember you doing a post a while back that when you're wearing clothes that aren't fitting you, 100%, or you're feeling kind of tight, or you're trying to hold on to that pair of jeans because, oh, you'll maybe get back into them one day. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, that's not going to make you feel good every time you go to your closet and you're pulling out clothes that you're squeezing into or that are just not comfortable to wear, right? So I would love to kind of, hear your thoughts on it and kind of, yeah, over to you.
Yeah, sure. I can only, I first, I can want to share I can share my experience is I remember when I started my first business and I was working from home and I'm working all the time. And of course you're like investing you're investing money back in the business. And if you said like, do you want to pay for a new printer? I'd be like, sure. But if it's like, do you want to pay for a new top? I'd be like, absolutely not. That's a waste. And I remember I would just like be in workout clothes or I would be in pajamas. Cause I just didn't think like, oh, it just doesn't matter. And I think as we start to do the inner work on ourselves, that we start to realize like, oh, no, I actually feel better when I get dressed and when I wash my face and when I do my hair, even if nobody's going to see me for the day. Because I think sometimes people use the like, well, I work from home. I don't need it. And it's like, but you still go out in public. I think it's also kind of thinking of like, how would you treat if somebody has children or, if you don't, like friends or whatever, would you say like to your kids, oh, you have to stay in those pants that, they're too short for you and they're clearly too small, but you just have to keep wearing them. No, like mom, it's eventually like, oh, I'm going to go shop. Like we back to school shopping, we got to get your clothes. But then when we look at ourselves, it's like, oh, that's a waste. No, it's not. Like this is how you are showing up in the world. You
Yeah.
absolutely deserve to wear clothes that fit you, that flatter you, and that you enjoy wearing.
Yeah. Oh, so many good points. I don't have kids, but I know if I had a daughter, or I'm thinking of my best friend's daughters, I would want them to wear clothes that feel good, that fit them properly, that make them,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that they want to wear, right? And so why do we,
Mm-hmm.
at what point do we start, shaming ourselves for wanting to do that? And I'd love to kind of, to within this conversation start to challenge the ideas that like we because I'm the same way. I will invest in new courses, or I'll invest in coaching myself, and I'll
Mm-hmm.
invest in you know, all sorts of different things that are more like, either practical or seem like they're going to, but the
Mm-hmm.
second I think of investing in my closet or styling myself, it's like it just would go to the back burner. And it's less so now, of course, because I've done so much inner work. But I love how you were, so many times when you were talking about how you want to feel, right? And I think that's like so important too, because it's not, and not to shame, like, of course, there's an
Mm-hmm.
element of wanting to look a certain way, and there's no shame in that, right? Let's
Sure.
not, I don't mean to put any shame or
Mm-mm.
around, wanting to dress to look your best.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with it, but I love how you were, saying, just even in your language, how you want to feel, right? Because when we feel good, we feel confident, we feel better, we feel at ease, everything, just gets better and better. And
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I
No,
mean,
not at
the
all. No
other
problem.
part,
Yeah.
thinking about it, the other part of self-care is that when you make the investment to work, like
Hmm.
for instance, whether you're going to work with a stylist or you're going to go out and you're just going to shop, you're going to finally like replace some things in your closet.
Hmm.
That you are reclaiming your freedom. You are, the time that you take. Like, how many times is it? the day before you're going on a trip, you go to the mall, you just buy a bunch of stuff, you like sort of like it, not really, but you're like, this will work, and then you never wear it again. You know, you're reclaiming your your fashion freedom. I think even financial, that you end up, when you buy, like my closet's actually pretty small, because I invest in things I really like and can wear for years and years and years, rather than just a bunch of junk. You know, I used to do that of like, it's $19.99, I'll get it. And then it's like, I wear it once and it goes to Goodwill.
So true. Again, that's like another shift for me, is just thinking of it as well in terms of it's going to create that freedom, right? It's going to elevate your freedom to not have to be, thinking about like, what am I going to wear, and not feeling like kind of, almost like getting anxious about like thinking of clothes that you are going to wear, for this live or for your vacation,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever it is, right? And also reclaiming your freedom, reclaiming your happiness, your ease, all of it. And so again, it's so good. And so, coming, from this conversation, I'm thinking of, my parents, right? So much of, how we are and how we think about these things and our beliefs and our everything is so modeled from either our, what we've been growing up with, what we've seen, modeled in society, all of it. And I know for me, my parents, like, they're kind of polar opposites in so many ways. My mom has always been so stylish, and she's always had a bold sense of, she's always wore bold colors, and loves to express herself in what she wears. And she's always had such a free kind of relationship with her clothes, in the sense that it's a sense of enjoyment for her. I just don't, and I mean, I don't want to project this on her. I just don't think that she feels the guilt or the shame in styling. And even when she, growing up, like looking at photos of her when she was growing up, it was so cool to see her sense of style. Like, she always had a sense of style, and she always loved to express herself through clothes. And then if you look at my dad, I mean, my dad is so frugal. He is like, he'll wear things he'll wear things with a hole in it, as long as like that hole's not showing. We have a lot of jokes about it in the family, but like, he is so kind of the opposite in so many ways. And he's very stays comfortable with the colors that he feels like, he wants to wear. He doesn't branch out. He's not very adventurous. And often, so much of my psyche, or where I think some of my limiting beliefs or my guilt around, investing in my style and clothes, comes from that sort of his kind of voice. And I'd love to know, what like, how do we begin to challenge, why do we feel so much guilt around or put it on the back burner, prioritize, say, the printer for the office, rather than how we want to feel in our clothes. And how did you make those shifts, and what happened when you started to?
Yeah, I think that this is a really common thing, whether talking to people who I think would like to have my
Mm-hmm.
services, but then there's a part of them that feels like, oh my gosh, that's really materialistic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to pay. Or I'm a woman, I should know how to do this myself. But it's like,
Mm-hmm.
but you just told me you couldn't. That this
Yeah.
doesn't come naturally to you. And I think that our society really demands of women, like, you need to look perfect. But then
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe you spent that money on that shoes, or I can't believe you spent money on Botox, or whatever it's going to be.
Yes. Yes.
It's like, I want you to look perfect, but now let me shame you for actually spending money on yourself, because no, you can't do that. And
So
yeah, so it's really, so many times people come to me and I say, I'm like, we all kind of have fashion or style trauma of some kind, whether it's your mother told you when you were, 12, like, oh, you can never wear stripes, they make you look big. And so then your whole life, you've never worn stripes. Or it's like, something of like your parent, maybe it's a parent who said, don't be the kind of person who spends a lot of money on clothes because they're X. They're that kind of, that means they're this kind of person. So instead, it's like really embracing, like, wait a minute here. Like, I think about how my father used to shop. He would go once a year, like we would be, on vacation. He would go once a year to Brooks Brothers, like buy what he needed. And that was it. Like, did not have any guilt, did not feel like, oh, I should, because he's like, I need suits. I'm a lawyer. I need some suits, like done. And, whereas women, it's like, I shouldn't, what, I should not be spending this. Or you buy it and then afterwards you leave and you're like, I can't believe I spent that money. I can't believe it. And so then you don't enjoy it, or then you go return it. Yeah. It's really kind of going like, I deserve to look nice. I am not doing anything wrong. Like clothing, shelter, transportation, food. Like these are the four walls, of what you need to survive. It is okay for you to want to look nice. That is absolutely fine.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And so, yeah, it's that self-love, right? And claiming that worthiness of saying, I deserve to feel good and I deserve to express myself, right? And I think that's also part of it, which is like a perfect segue into the next question that I have for you, which is, how can we use our clothes and styling as a method of self-expression? Because, for me, for example, I often go to what is practical or, what's functional. And part of it is I grew up in a small town. So jeans and a t-shirt and maybe a hoodie was like, easy to wear. And although we did a lot of traveling when we were in New York or Hong Kong, I would kind of dive into more city. I think there was still an element of like, go for what is functional, going to be easy, going to be comfortable. And the idea of like styling myself, it just doesn't come easy to me. It doesn't, like I'm kind of quirky that way. But the idea of dressing as a method of self-expression, that gets me really excited because it kind of breaks down the idea of like what I think is stylish or is stylish to the outer world to no, what's going to make me feel like I am, expressing myself and my higher self. And so, and again, so much of your beautiful content and messages online have really helped, kind of nurture that out of me and inspired and excited me to, say, create like a Pinterest board on, what sort of speaks to me, or what, So, in your opinion, kind of how can we start to, I guess, nurture that idea of dressing as a mode of self-expression.
Yeah, I think that, styling. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there. I mean, I think that, I think it's like really thinking about if you had all the money in the world, anything you put on, you knew would look good, like how would you want to dress? And, and maybe you don't know. So I do suggest like really learn what you like go on Pinterest and just start pinning things. Like, don't think about like, oh, I could never pull that off or where would I wear that? Just pin things. And you will start to see patterns of like, oh, it's clear I like ruffles. I seem to like really feminine, like boho things, or I really seem to like blazers and clean lines and minimalist. Like you'll start to see a pattern. Then when you go shop, you can think about that. So when you pulled up that $19.99 top with ruffles, when really you seem to like all things that are, Vince and minimalist, you won't be like, you're like, this does not fit the image that I want to be. Like, whether you have 3 words that describe that, that it's like, is this elegant? No, it's not. Then that's not what I want. And I think it's also thinking about, giving yourself permission. I think sometimes we're affected by who we hang out with. And if you're somebody who hangs out with people that everybody shops at, Old Navy, and there's nothing wrong with Old Navy, but they're like, I shop at Old Navy and Target and I like dress like everybody else. Like, then sometimes it's hard to think like, but oh my gosh, what would they think of me if I showed up and I was wearing, these awesome, vegan leather pants that I saw that are green and I love them. Like, what will they think? Who cares what they'll think? People will probably, you'll get lots of compliments actually. That, you're dressing for you, not someone else. And that's part of like when I work with people, I really try to, get to know this person. And it's like, like, for instance, if we were working together, it'd be like, what is so beautiful about Sarah that the world needs to see? It isn't like, here's a style quiz. Oh, you are an urban romantic, so here are the things that you get, and there's no algorithm. It is literally me like sitting there as I'm shopping for this person being like, oh, this would be so, like, this is quirky, like she is, like, this is so fun. I have somebody who told me that they wanted to look like the cover of a Sweet Valley High book. And then I have another person who's just like, I just want to look like a fierce badass. And I'm like, okay, like that's going to be two totally different looks. And that's okay.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And I got a couple questions coming out of that. So good. First of all, maybe I'll just say them and so that I don't forget them if we can get to them all. But first of all, I guess you kind of touched on the idea of like people pleasing, right? And how you want to look and how you want to dress, kind of staying safe or staying comfortable or staying with the pack, right? Dimming down your unique light. And so it's really, a matter of, I loved how you said it, dressing for you, right? Dressing for you, not for other people. And, so yeah, I had a question about that. And then I also, kind of wonder, like, why do we feel the need to, I guess, like, it's almost like fear of dressing in a way that's bold, wearing bold colors, wearing things that are going to, kind of like stand out, when often so many of us want to dress in a way that's adventurous and just free, right? Not necessarily even think about how it's going to be perceived, but just as a method, again, of self-expression. And the other thing I wanted to just mention is, I think that there's so many different, like, we're dynamic people, right? We're multidimensional people. And so for me, for example, I love being outdoors. I love camping. I love hiking. I love all of it, right? And so, being able to, honor that side of myself, well, yeah, but then I also am, I can be a city girl and I love to wear dresses. I love to dress up and wear heels. And so, I guess kind of breaking down the boxes, right? That we have to be this one way all the time, and this one person, or, oh, that doesn't seem like her, or that might confuse people, or again, it's that people pleasing, right? And the other thing I just wanted to mention was, I love how you put it, asking yourself if the answer could be yes. And I always say this to my clients when they're thinking about what they want for their life, what they want to do with their business, what offerings they want to put out there. Think about it. If you could have anything, if everything was a yes in the most ideal scenario, what would you ask for, right? And so it's a very similar mindset with how would you dress if you had all the money in the world, if you weren't dressing to please, weren't dressing to conform, or worrying about what people think, right? How would you dress? I absolutely love that. And so, yeah, I kind of just, I guess I'm commenting on what you just said so beautifully. But did you have anything you wanted to add or speak to on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you kind of mentioned boxes, and I say this all the time. I'm like, I think women are far too complicated to be put in a single, like, this is your style box. I know that if I shopped by an algorithm, like, they would probably not capture what I like and what is me. And, and instead, like, just what you said, it's like, well, like, we're multidimensional. We have different parts of our life that we want to wear different things. I had one client that she wanted a fancy golf. She started golfing and she's like, I want a cute, fancy golf outfit. And it's like, yeah, of course we're going to figure that out.
Yeah, why not, right?
And that's okay. And that's okay. It's just really, I think, getting clear about clearing out not just like the outdated styles in your closet, but the outdated feelings, and being like, how do I want to feel and show up and really embody my greatness?
Yeah, love it, Grace. Love it.
Yes.
Yeah, so good. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Sure, fine.
I guess that kind of brings up 2 points. For one, it's like, yeah, breaking down those outdated beliefs, right? Breaking down those outdated feelings about how you want to dress, but also like how do you find that balance between wanting to like again, it's just so much shame around um, you know, kind of like investing in your style, investing in your clothes. And it's like, how do you find the balance of, okay, A, why can't we just play and have fun? It's like, it's almost like this guilty pleasure of like, oh, I just went on a shopping spree and invested on me, right? Why can't that be,
Mm-hmm.
something that we enjoy without feeling like there should be shame around it? Why can't that just be so fun? If that's what it's a, not to project that on people, if that's what they if they don't enjoy that, that's totally fine. But if they do enjoy that, and not to project the fact that some people probably don't have shame around that, they probably do it with full gusto, and I guess I'm speaking to the people that potentially do have shame around that. Why is it such a thing? And which I know we've already touched on. And the other thing is just, how to find a balance between feeling like we are feeling guilty because you don't want to like lean on your clothes or how you're dressing or how you're projecting yourself to the outside world as a crutch for, for feeling confident, right? Like, feeling almost guilty that it does matter for your highest confidence and embodying your highest self, right? Almost like that mindset of well, even if you were wearing the most ugly outfit in the world, that you feel 100% confident, right? And so finding that like balance between I guess I just love to know your opinion on both of those things, of just not leaning too far in the sense of like it's a crutch, and then also allowing yourself to be like, no, 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 this does matter because it makes me want to show up. It makes me feel good. It makes me, feel like I'm expressing myself.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think that, of course, like I don't want anybody to walk away from this or what I do, looking at it, what I put out into the world and think, sorry, my phone's about to tip, and think, oh, Grace only thinks you can't be successful unless you dress well. And that is not my message. My message is not like, oh my gosh, you're wearing what? No, that is not it at all. And
Not that
but
you
I
come across
think
that way in any way, but it's just,
no,
speaking to that,
no,
speaking to
no.
that
Of
limiting belief.
course, but I think sometimes people can when they hear like
Mm-hmm.
shopping stylist. I can't tell you how many times I've like met someone. They ask me what I do. I say I'm a personal stylist, and they immediately like get self conscious as if I'm going to be judging what they're wearing. I'm like, I don't.
Yeah,
I really am not.
yeah.
And but we are a visual society.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
always tell the story of several years ago, this was pre-pandemic, I was at an in-person morning networking event, like morning coffees that I'm sure many people watching and whatever have been to or used to go to in our previous pre-COVID life. And I met this woman, and number one, I always made a point to dress really well at going to something like that, that I knew I was a little bit overdressed. I knew I stood out. But guess what? That's why I wanted to stand out, so that people are kind of going like, who is that? Like, she must be a big deal. Like, she's somebody I want to meet. Like, I want to, they get my card and they know I remember who that is. Okay. Yeah. She was the one in the blue jumpsuit. Got it. But I remember this woman told me, she's like, I'm a life coach. And she was wearing, this is like a morning professional coffee. Most people are in business casual dress.
Mm-hmm.
She was wearing jean cutoff shorts. And I have no idea, maybe she had no idea what you wear to something like that. Maybe there's a lot of reasons. I'm not putting her down, but it did not match what she was trying to put out. Like she's sitting there trying to put out in the world, I'm a life coach, I can help you. And what I saw was, how can you help me with my life when it doesn't feel like you can show up for yours? It doesn't look like you can show up. And so that's the thing, is that it's like, what image am I? And I think that my clients tend to fall in two camps. It is either one, I hate shopping. I don't want to do it. I am paying you to offload this task,
Mhm,
just like
mhm,
you would do for your taxes or whatever else. Like,
mhm,
please
mhm,
help me. And then there's other people who are like, I like it. I actually really like style. I just don't have time. I want an
mhm,
upgrade. I don't have
mhm,
time to invest in working on this. Can you handle that? Yes. That's usually who I work with, are those two. And
mhm,
it's kind of, I think it's people. And I also think that with business, one reason why I wanted to focus on entrepreneurs was because I remember, like I said before, like you're working all this time, and then all of a sudden you look around and you're like, I look like I need to get new clothes. I need to
mhm.
invest. Now I've hit the six figures. Now I need to look like that. And it's like, can you, as you're making all of these up levels in life, it's like,
Mhm,
do my outsize match that? Like, can
mhm,
I be sitting there asking when I want to ask for, five figures for a package and I'm like wearing what I wore in high school? That's not going to, like, I don't know that
yeah.
your head can get there yet. That doesn't mean you need to go
Mhm,
buy Chanel, but
mhm,
I don't
mhm,
know, like for me at least, like I can't make that, when I wear sweats, because when I know I'm not going to be client facing, there are days that I do wear sweats like everybody else. I don't feel as good about myself those days.
mhm. Okay, so so interesting because, eh, from a from so from a coaching perspective, and also you know I work with a lot of female entrepreneurs as well that are, showing up online is a big part of, marketing themselves and putting and getting
Mm-hmm.
themselves in front of the right clients, right? Because of course, in order for your clients to know you and trust you and see what you're doing, you have to, show up in some shape or form. And it's not always on, Instagram. It's not always on Facebook. There's other ways, but I guess a big part of it is visual. And sometimes, I find that one of the things that stops people from feeling like they can show up and feeling like they're confident in showing up is just, I guess it's like, finding that balance between, showing up as their authentic and raw self in the moment, like, which is, and it depends what you're doing within your business, right? But, allowing yourself to like show up in your sweats, to show up in your PJs and be like, you know what, I'm having an off morning, or, this is what's going on, or this is me in the multi-dimensional, life of a human, right? With all the
Mm-hmm.
different facets, and not necessarily feeling like they need to always show up as that, version of themselves in order to put themselves out there, right? But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, like allowing yourself to, um, yeah, like to also embody that higher self, right? And to, and that could be within your sweatpants on the couch, that could be within your PJs, but also, to allow yourself to dress in a way that, makes you feel confident, right? It can be like a spectrum, and I think it's almost like when, like, there's something that, at least for me, can kind of like hold me back when I want to sort of dress up or put my, best foot forward for, say, an event, or even online sometimes. It's almost like if I put on, that fancy dress for a live, I'll feel like, oh my God, she's taking herself so seriously, or,
Mm-hmm.
look at her feeling like she needs to, look a certain way in order to, feel like she's professional, or whatever it is, right? And so for me, it's like, kind of, yeah, getting to that place of confidence that, showing up in whatever form, whether that's, your sweats, your jogging, your whatever it is, and I mean, for me as a coach, it's very different, than say what you do, right? So showing that spectrum and being okay with people seeing the multi-layered and the raw authentic journey, but then also being okay with showing up as the bold, badass boss woman that you are inside, right? And so for me, it's like I find I can kind of hide, or dim my light in that way. Um, yeah, I don't know if you want to speak to that. It's like
Oh,
the full spectrum,
yeah. Oh, so juicy. And thank you for being so honest. And I think a lot of people feel the same way, whether it's
Mhm,
doing a live or
mhm,
going to an event
mhm,
or, even going to the office. that it's like, well, what are people going to think? Like,
Mhm.
what is
Mhm.
that invisible army? What are they going to think? Like, they know. And it goes back to our own, well, what are they going to, like, probably nothing. Like,
Mhm.
people aren't thinking about, as much as we think they are. And even if they are, that's their own stuff. I was talking to, on a podcast recently, PUO podcast. I'll shout them out.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
were they were like talking about wanting a Louis Vuitton bag, but
Mhm.
they would get like like people making remarks at the office. And I
Mhm.
said,
Mhm.
why are you not like? Why are you not showing your greatness? Like, if you want this bag, great. Why are you letting the office manager hold you back from
Yeah.
people that do not matter?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like, when you are drawing who you are out, like, people are going to be attracted to that.
Yeah.
If you're wearing fancy dresses, yeah, there might be somebody who's like, why is she wearing a fancy dress? That's not your
Mhm.
person. It's
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
not.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah.
who's like, oh, she looks lovely. Like, I
Yeah.
want more.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even one of my clients, when she was one of my first clients, she suddenly noticed she was getting like 200% more people were watching her lives.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
her social media person was like, I think it's the tops because you're wearing these really bright, colorful things.
Love
And
it.
like, people
Yeah.
are stopping to scroll. So
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, even though she could have said, well, it's COVID,
Mhm.
everybody's in sweats, I should
Yeah.
just be in sweats too.
Yeah.
No, it is. It's like when you become the person that's standing out, more people are attracted to it rather than repulsed
Mhm.
by it.
Yeah. Yeah. Such a good point. And like for me, it's like I haven't even fully sort of explored or experimented with what feels adventurous and fun to wear and to play with
Mm-hmm.
that. Like I don't even know if wearing a wearing a dress is what would feel like what would be a method of self-expression, but because I haven't I'm so excited to dive more into that, right? And so, but it's just a really interesting. It's almost like and I think there's so many messages within our society as well of like, well, if you dress a certain way, you're just looking for attention, or
Mm-hmm.
which is so awful, right? And again, it's why limiting beliefs can be so ingrained at a subconscious level, and really at a deep level. There's so many messages that we hear around that just end up, unique to every single one of us, right? And so, yeah, and I think I'm also, um, I think you made a good point. It's like, well, if that fancy purse is something that you are excited about and you want to own, it's like, as long as you're not attaching your worth to having
Mm-hmm.
that fancy purse,
Yes.
attaching your confidence to
Yes.
wearing that, that outfit, or having that Prada purse. If it feels like it excites you, it makes you then like, why the hell do we limit ourselves so much, and hold back on, like, yeah, just, again, going back to that freedom, right? That freedom of allowing ourselves to, to dress and be in a way and to choose our desires, to not, and to turn up the dial on what feels bold to us individually, right? And yeah, I love it. So I'm wondering, like, you know, yeah, I guess, what do you think the biggest limiting beliefs around clothes and styling are? Um, for me, for example, and I know you touched on this at one point in the live, and you've also talked about it within your messaging before. Growing up, my girlfriends loved American Eagle. They
Mm-hmm.
absolutely loved wearing, the really skinny jeans from American Eagle. And for me, I'd go shopping and I have a bigger booty. I've always had a bigger booty, and
Mm-hmm.
American Eagle didn't fit. And so in high
Mm-hmm.
school, talking about like that trauma of around that, and trauma or drama around clothes, both work. That would be one for me for sure. I always went to Guess. Guess seemed to fit me.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was welcome there. I felt like I was
Mhm.
embraced. I felt like my curves could kind of be fitted, but it almost just always felt like, at that point I was so young and obviously not even aware of all these things, of all these, I didn't have the confidence that I do now and hadn't healed these things, but like I wanted to, I wanted to buy those American Eagle jeans, and I was pissed off and bummed out that they didn't make those jeans for different body shapes, and
Mhm.
and it would limit, like, so then I got really comfortable and I was like, Guess will always be the place I go to shop for jeans. And or for example, I have definitely have a limiting belief around wearing like a baggier dress because I have bigger hips and I'm curvier, it like will often make me look so,
Mhm.
boxy. Or but at the same time it's like, well, who cares, if that
Mhm.
baggier dress makes me feel, it makes me feel good, then why not wear it? And so I guess, like, what would you say are some of the biggest limiting beliefs that you see with your clients, and that can kind of hold people back from feeling good about shopping, feeling like they want to, style themselves in a
Mhm.
way that feels authentic.
Yeah. Well, first, I see a shout out from Dr. Julia, who is so sweet. Your work is
Yeah.
life changing. So grateful. And I think that, the limiting beliefs I see the most are one about bodies, that maybe it's like, oh, I could never wear that. This will look bad
Mm-hmm.
on me. And I'm just like, just try it. Just try it. It may not be, but that's up to them. Like, I'm not here to tell people what to wear. I think bodies, I think, what I can and can't pull off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I can't pull that off. Oh, I could never wear that. Like, the people just have their own ideas of what you can wear to certain events, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
no, no, you can wear that. Yeah, like you can wear a dress. Oh yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing, is that sometimes it is. It's like therapy. It's just like, patiently. I'm gonna like hold their hand and patiently walk them through this
Mm-hmm.
process.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I've never worn that. Nobody, people would laugh if they saw me wearing this. And it's like, no, they wouldn't. And I think it's also just that fear. If you're so used to just blending in, and
Mm-hmm.
it's that fear of just suddenly standing out, of
Yeah.
like, of,
Yeah.
and,
Dr.
that's
Julia
the
says,
thing.
"This is why I
Oh,
hired you, Grace." Yeah, it's so good. I know what you do
I
is
love
is
her.
so so good. It's so life changing, and you know,
Eh,
yeah. Go ahead.
I don't mean to, I just have to say, like, Julia had
Yeah.
so much, like, Julia came in and it was like, I mean, she's now like this, I mean, she's gorgeous anyway, but now it was just bringing it out more. Yes,
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
I don't mean to, like, I don't
Like
want to
she was
share your
finally
story without your
seen.
permission,
Yeah.
Julia, but I will just say, she came to me and was like, I'm a mom. I just
Mhm.
wear
Very
like
that she
I wear
survived. Yeah.
Target mom clothes. And she ended up wearing, I mean, she was finding things. She's like, here's this that I found. Like, that we went from like, I could never do that to like, I found this dress and this makes me feel good. And she went to an event. She's like, not sitting there thinking like, here I am in the same top I've worn to a million things. And instead it's like, I'm the best dressed person here. Like, this is new. This is the person I've always had in my vision, but I never thought I
Yeah.
could do it. And it's just like how people like hire you, Sarah. It's because,
Hmm.
yeah, they
Hmm.
could read a bunch of books on their own. They could do all these things to try to get to the next level. But when you have somebody who's pushing you and finding it, yeah, you make those leaps a lot faster.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And you're able to like actually identify the limiting beliefs and pick out those, help them pick out those blind spots, right? And get
Mm-hmm.
out of the boxes. And I love what she said, finally seen. Like, ooh, that's a juicy one, because I think that goes back to, what we were talking about, not wanting to necessarily have oh, that's amazing. She said her vision for how she wanted to look finally came to life. That is, and so, so empowering. Oh, thanks to both of you.
Uh,
Right back at you. All of the good
Oh my
feelings in my
gosh,
heart.
that's
That
like
is so
that
beautiful.
just like made that all right, now I can
Yeah.
like go, like I'm done. Like that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
you asked what my why was at the
Yeah.
beginning. That is my why.
Yeah.
Like,
Love it. Love it. Cheers. Cheers to that, celebrating that. Yeah, that is amazing. Oh, so beautiful, so beautiful. Yeah, all of the good feelings. And I think that's it, right? Finally being seen. I think that is, going back to that feeling that we need to people please or dim down or conform or dressing in a way that feels comfortable or functional or is conforming or safe or yeah, and allowing ourselves to be seen in a way that feels, aligned, authentic, like just like Dr. Julia said, right? Her vision of how she wanted to look finally coming to life, right? And
Mhm.
oh, it's so empowering. It's so inspiring. Um, just so many amazing shifts. And like you said, it's almost like limiting belief work and like kind of
Mhm.
coaching that you're doing as you're styling, which is
Mhm.
so cool. And
Yeah.
I was speaking about this in my live last week in my master class, and I also did a post where I was talking about, there's so many different like in order to go to that next level, we have to heal so much of the inner programming and the limiting beliefs and the limiting stories that we have around so many different things in our life. And again, I was saying it in the masterclass, it's not like you have to have every part of your life healed in order to go to that next level, right? Like I will fully disclose, totally raw and vulnerable. Like I have definitely have limiting beliefs around styling and around clothes and around
Mhm.
dressing in a way that feels authentic. It's not even something that I have allowed myself time to do, and that's also because I've been busy, but also just I know that there's some blocks there. And so that's why I find your work so inspiring, and I love reading everything you do because it helps shift so
Mhm.
many ideas in my mind. I've had conversations, I've mentioned this to you, but I've had conversations with my partner around, self-care and self-love and clothes and dressing in a way that is self-expressed. And he's, he completely agrees. And we have these fabulous conversations from so much of the work that you do. And so I guess it's just another reminder of like, just because there's always new peaks that we can go to, right? Of our highest confidence, of our freedom, of healing the stories or the things that are blocking us from, truly being seen and truly, embodying our highest self. But you don't need to heal it all in order to get to that next level. That's what's so exciting.
Yeah.
There's always new possibilities and new waves. And I know for me, for example, through this beautiful conversation, I have had shifts and had my eyes opened. And I know that there were so many women that reached out saying how excited they were for this chat because they were excited to sort of
Aw.
have their eyes opened and discuss, um, yeah, so many of these topics. So, ah, so good. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I just had this like major, looking at Dr. Julia and hearing you, of realizing, when I don't know, like I started my journey, it was about 2 years ago, and suddenly like I'm leaving this person and all that I've always done, and now I'm going to start this new, what I thought would just be like, I'm just going to take this course on how to do an
Mm-hmm.
online course, and it's ended
Mm-hmm.
up being like, next thing you know, I've got the crystals on the desk, I've got, my natal chart, like let's just go into all the spirituality and self care, all of it.
Yeah.
And I realized that sometimes when we start these things, like, so
Mm-hmm.
usually my clients, when they come to me and they've invested, they're a little scared, but they're excited. And I think this happens probably for you with coaching. They're like, you're going to 10X my
Mm-hmm.
income. It's going to be easy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is going to be great. Well, there's this the messy middle. It's like, I
Yeah.
mean, it starts like great and we can brainstorm all we want. And then you get the clothes come and it's like, oh my gosh, this is awful. What am I going to do? Like, I just got a text from a client, I'll say, right, like as we're like going live, that's like, I'm freaking out. These clothes are too big. And it's like, based on the measurements she sent me, we have plenty of time. I'm just going to order them new,
Yeah.
it'll
Yeah.
be fine.
Yeah.
But that's so normal. Like, we
Yeah.
have the
Yeah.
messy middle. And then at the end, it's like, oh my gosh, this was amazing. It did work out. Like, as it
Yeah.
is. We have the
Yeah.
fears come in.
Yeah, totally. I always say, within my Amazing You program, it's like this, it's kind of this like a little bit of a weight, like it kind of builds. And then there's like this,
Mm-hmm.
when we really dive into the limiting belief work, it's like it can feel, it can kind of feel, I don't want to say, heavy, but it's just like
Yeah.
really looking at those stuff and confronting, right? And kind of moving through the triggers to get to that beautiful oasis on the other side. And,
Mm-hmm.
and definitely shifts happen, of course. And I'm sure you've seen it within, right off the first conversation or right off the first session, and you start feeling lighter, you start feeling happier, you start feeling more, embodied. But then, it just, all of those good feelings just get amplified throughout but yeah, there's that messy middle, right? And also, kind of just like nurturing the patience, right? Because so much of the, like you said, right, having the vision for how people want to look and to feel in their clothes, right? That takes time to nurture. Having the vision for where you want to go with your life, and then doing the actual, shopping, doing the for me, it's like identifying, right, what are the blocks that are holding you back from that, doing that, and then starting to overhaul. And then often, it's kind of that like in between period, right, where the patience needs to come before the results really start to take off, and you really start to
Mm-hmm.
feel like, oh my God, okay, I'm expressing myself, I feel fantastic in these clothes. Or everything that I've been wanting for my reality starts to come to. So yeah, and again, I mean, I know we're closing in on an hour, so I don't want to take up any too much more of your time at all. I just want to say, you know, I guess just to end off before I open up the floor, to just say, how can people work with you? What are your services? I'd love for you to just open up about that, and then also just to touch on, I think one of the big things that can hold so many of us back, and I've definitely had conversations with girlfriends about it, is like waiting until they're at a certain point, either financially or they're at this like idealized version of how they want to look, or how they I know for me, like I said, I haven't given myself the time to to look into my wardrobe and to get um, get clear, like why do we um, how can we just meet ourselves with self-love where we're at, in the curviness, in the in all the complexity that we see. Why do we dress ourselves or to wear that dress to like, no, go for it now, like dress in a way that feels beautiful to you and that feels good now, and quit holding off on, or putting it off.
I'm sorry, my internet went out a little, so I
Oh, no
kind of
problem.
missed a lot of that. Yeah,
No, no
I heard like
problem.
where to find me, and then what'd you say about putting off? Yeah,
Okay, I was
putting.
just gonna say,
Yeah.
I guess it's just one point that I often have conversations with my girlfriends about, and it can just comes up so much in, in natural dialogue within society, it's almost like waiting until we are at a certain point financially, or
Yes.
within
Wait.
time, or wait exactly where we want to feel this idealized version of where we want to feel physically before we feel like we can wear that dress, or go out and shop and invest in a wardrobe that's going to feel good. Like, how can we let go of that idea of, and meet ourselves where we're at with like the complexity, and like that self-love of like, I am enough right now to rock whatever I want to rock. And I'm sure that you hit blocks like that with your clients, and because
Yeah.
yeah, we can so often put off um dressing in a way that's going to feel good and make us feel beautiful until we hit some kind of, until we're there. But it's like, let's stop doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I think just think of who is the woman in your vision? Like, what
Mm-hmm,
is she like?
mm-hmm,
What would she
mm-hmm,
do? And it's, look, just like anything, if you want to, if you want your style to go to another level, you could spend a lot of time doing that yourself. Yes, it is possible. Like I could become a tax savant if I want to, if that's how I want to spend all of my free time for a long time, because it doesn't come naturally to me. Or I can hire someone and it can be a quantum leap of like where I want to go and a lot faster. It's in their zone of genius. So it comes very easily. And I think I used to live my whole life of like, well, once I make this amount of money and once I'm this size and once I'm this, then I'll do that. Well, who's to know if that day's ever going to come? Life is short. Just go start now. Yeah. I mean, I have that comment most I'm thinking about is people will say, they're like, I'm hiring you once I lose 20 pounds. And I'm like, okay, well, that may happen, but you deserve at whatever size to look good. Like, I don't see so people 100%. Always have like, once this happens, then I'll come back to you.
Yeah. 100%. Exactly. And to, find that beautiful place of self, which I know is a tall order for, so many of us, but like finding that self-love and self-acceptance with where, like, the fact that I don't ever need to shop at American Eagle is just such a win for me. I love my curviness that, has taken me, so long to get there. Right. And to just embrace where we are, like, all shapes, all forms, all different, the more unique, the better. And really tapping into like, what's going to make you feel like you feel beautiful, you feel at ease in your clothes, you feel confident, all of it. Right. So, so good. So I'm going to open it up to let us know how people can work with you. What does it look like, and how can they get in touch with you?
Oh, yes. Well, this has been such a pleasure. I feel like we could talk all afternoon. One day we'll have to meet in person. Yeah. Really the best way to find, so my website should be launching in the next few weeks. But so in the meantime, go to my Instagram handle, which you can see here, Grace Van Cleave. You can click on the link, sign up for my mailing list. And, you can also book a call with me if you want to talk about working together. If you're watching this 3 months from now and you're binging on all of Sarah's content, go to amazinggracestyling.com to learn more. As far as, I really, work with people, we either doing something that's a more a seasonal worthy ward. We call it the worthy wardrobe. So something that you could wear for a season, or sometimes people come to me for photo shoots, or, I have a conference, some kind of time capsule event. And I also have a year package where it's really a year journey where we're building on, your wardrobe each season. And also if you have a reason, for instance, I got to go to this wedding, I don't have time to figure out what I'm going to wear. Can you handle that? Yes. Or I want to have nice pajamas. I can handle all of that. So, I'm working with a year client right now, and this is our third go round working together. We're going to be spending a lot less because I'm like, oh, we're going to get that to go with that skirt she got last time, that it starts to really become a real cohesive wardrobe. So those are generally, how I work, and I'm more than would be happy to talk with anyone. You can book a call with me, and you can see if it's a good fit for both of us.
Amazing. And then how do you so I guess you go through a process of getting the vision, and then, do you kind of just how does it look when you sign on with you? What's the process?
Sure. Yeah. It starts with, you get an onboarding survey, of asking questions about, trying to figure out where are you right now and where do you want to go? Then we have a 90-minute call where I am, asking all questions about you, trying to figure out who your ideal client is, what was shopping like as a child, really trying to get a better sense of who is this person? Where do they live? Somebody who lives, spends half the year on Maui is going to have a very different wardrobe than somebody who lives in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So it's just kind of really taking this into account. And then we also look at your closet. I want to see what works. I want to see what's not working, really, most importantly. And then we'll also look at what works, and kind of together we'll kind of get a game plan, of this is what you need. Here's what I'm thinking you're going to need. I go shop, and I come back to you and present options for you. And, there's usually some back and forth of, sometimes people are like, love this. And then sometimes they're like, I like this, but I think I want more something that, so we kind of co-create this together. Then I have everything sent to me, and then I ship it all in one big Worthy Wardrobe box to you, so you don't have 17 deliveries at your house. And then if you have returns, you mail it back to me. I handle all that, all the customer service, waiting on hold. You don't have to deal with any of it because your time is way too valuable to be at the post office. So
Good.
yeah.
Amazing. Sounds fantastic. You are such a delight. This has been so good, so empowering. I feel like some key takeaways are to, quit people pleasing, just, allow yourself. You deserve to feel good. You deserve to feel your best, and to let go of ideas around, shame or guilt or vanity or any of it that, if you, use your clothes as a method of self-expression and self-confidence. And yeah, do you want to add any takeaways? Not to put you on the spot.
I'm sorry, what was the last part? You broke up a little.
Oh, sorry. Do you want to add any takeaways? Not to put you on the spot.
Oh gosh, I think the biggest thing is just, being really open of, coming on, like doing an IG live, of realizing that like we can connect, like it's just amazing who you connect with and who you can attract when you are truly yourself. And yes, if I was trying to be somebody else, we would not be sitting here, and I would be with somebody who I'd be like, this person's awful. And it's like, yeah, because that's what I'm putting out there. And instead, I love my clients. I love sitting here. It's because I, wasn't, and look, it's been a journey for me of like being like, I'm who I am, and dress how I want and take it or leave it. Like, I will be okay. If you reject me, I will still be okay.
Yeah. Damn, that's so good. Exactly. And, I hope that every single one of us women out there can get to that place, because everyone deserves to feel that confident and feel that authentically them and aligned and feel their best. Life is so short. So, as, kind of cheesy as that sounds, but so beautifully put. And exactly, I feel like I have, I can feel your energy. I feel like this has just been such a beautiful conversation, and exactly, and it's all over. I often forget when I get so immersed in the moment that, it's not that I forget that we're virtual right now, but yeah, so cool.
Yeah.
So good. Well, this has been just amazing for me personally, and I know that so many people are going to benefit and just enjoy and get thinking about all these things, right? Maybe
Yep.
have their own thoughts and their own opinions about everything that we said. So the more conversation and the more we break down these ideas around this stuff, the better. Let's all get empowered together, because that's what's going to make an even more beautiful express world. So, okay, fantastic. Well, honestly, Grace, thank you so much. And once again, you can get in touch with Grace through her IG handle, and also she will be having a website up and running soon. I know that I would love to work with you one day. So excited.
I can't wait for it. Can't wait.
So good.
All right.
Okay. All the love, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of the day. Love. And to everyone that's been watching.
You too. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.